Okay, first I will introduce myself. I'm Mohamed Khenissi, and I'm a PhD student in computer science from Tunisia. I'm so excited to be here in this symposium. So I will talk in this presentation about the use of accessible educational game for deaf learners. So I think it's okay.
Yes, perfect. Keep going.
Thank you.
Okay, and Yosra, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, my name is Yosra Bouzid. I am a PhD student at the University of Tunis from Tunisia. I work in my thesis for 4 years. This is my 4 years. The subject of my thesis is the interpretation of SignWriting notation through using avatar technology. So we will present in the SignWriting Symposium a new educational game named MemoSign, which can be used to help deaf signers to learn SignWriting notation. That's it.
It's very exciting, and if I understand it correctly, you're using SWML, which is maybe old, I know, the SignWriting markup language, and then you adapted it, didn't you, to program an avatar in a new way. Isn't that true? How did you? It must have been hard. Go ahead.
The SWML, it's the input of my system. Just the notation will be presented in SWML. The system will take the SWML sign box. Then it will parse it to extract the significant features of the notation, which compose the internal structure of the sign. Then, from these the significant features, the system will provide a linguistic representation for the sign, which include all the phonetic details in order to interpret correctly the motion through avatars. In the third stage, the linguistic representation will be converted to SML. SML is a skeletal language which will be used. I will use it to decode the linguistic representation in the form of XML format. The XML format describes the movement of each joint of the avatar, the facial movement, the movement of the hand, and so on. And finally, the SML script will be decoded or interpreted by an animation engine. The animation engine will produce the animation avatar. That's it.
It's fabulous. It's not just that's it. It's terrific. And there's also been an avatar that you developed first called Tunis Signer. Isn't that right?
Yes, Tunis Signer, the whole system. Yes, the website. My website, it's a sort of sign language dictionary. This dictionary includes the notation of the SignWriting notation and the interpretation of each notation through avatar.
Well, that sounds excellent. Now you have some slides. Would you like to go through the slides yourself with us? And Steve could just change the slides for you if you'd like, and you could just tell him, go to the next slide, go to the next slide. Or would you like me to show a video? What should we do?
I cannot understand you, dear Valerie. Can you repeat, please?
Oh, sorry. I wonder what I can do. Should I show a video or a slide?
Yes.
The video presentation.
The video. Okay, that's the answer.
Okay.
I'm going to try my best in Google Hangouts. I'm going to try to share my screen.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is an interesting experience. I'm going to start sharing screen.
Tunisia is a francophone town. It's our second language. It's the French language and not the English language. That's it. That's why we can we have difficulty to express ourselves. That's it.
Oh, you do beautifully, Yosra. And I wish I could speak French. I really should be able to do that, shouldn't I? Can you see? I'm going to go full screen and try to do this if I can. Okay, so I'm going to go full screen, I think.
Hello, we are Mohamed Khenissi, Mr. Bouzid, and Professor Mohamed Jemni from Research Laboratory LaTICE from Tunisia. We will talk in this presentation about an accessible educational game for deaf learners. The presentation is broken down into 5 sections. First, we will start by an introduction. Then, I'm going to show some related works. After that, I will present a new educational game for deaf learners. In section 4, I will show you an experimentation in classroom with deaf learners. Finally, we will conclude by a conclusion and future works.
Let's begin by the introduction. Sign language is an integral part and an identifying feature of membership in the deaf culture. According to the World Federation of Deaf, there are about 70 million deaf people who use sign language as their first language or mother tongue. For the majority of these people, learning a spoken language is not a natural and automatic process. It's rather a long and intensive task. It should be noted that around 80% of deaf people worldwide have an insufficient education and literacy problems. Indeed, many studies have reported that low educational attainment levels among these individuals are associated basically to their inability to develop reading and writing skills in spoken language, or through the so-called oral approach, which excludes the use of signed languages. There is no doubt that having a means to represent their own language in a writing form can bring to these signers the same advantages that writing systems for spoken languages bring to speakers. For example, young deaf learners can express, share, and record their ideas and thoughts on paper without translating it all the time. Moreover, a sign language writing form can be very useful to improve the ability of these learners to comprehend and acquire the writing versions of oral language. To date, a few attempts at developing a standardized notation system for representing sign languages have been made. One of the best known and most widely used is SignWriting. SignWriting system uses a set of highly iconic symbols to represent manual and non-manual features of signed languages. SignWriting is the only writing system in regular use. It's now adopted in more than 10 countries to aid literacy, such as USA, Germany, Brazil, and Tunisia. However, it's important to stress here that a training to learn to interpret the static transcription is needed for novice users who are accustomed to the use of their sign language in visual gesture modality. We believe that the use of information and communication technology, especially 3D signing avatars, can support the teaching of literacy to students who are deaf and hard of hearing. Actually, these digital agents have the potential to act as a powerful communication medium for learners to display knowledge in their first language and make the writing information completely accessible to them. On the other hand, we believe that the use of computer games is another promising alternative to reinforce learning experience of deaf learners, since they can consume the attention of these learners and increase their motivation and engagement. In this context, we propose a new learning game that federates the avatar technology, computer game, and the sign language writing form SignWriting to motivate deaf signers to read and write in their mother tongue.
Now, I will show you some related works. Researchers have demonstrated the effectiveness of learning versions of existing games in many domains. As example of learning version of existing games, we cite Rainbow Bubble, that was adapted in learning context for teaching English language. A learning version of Sims, designed also for teaching English language. A learning version of Pac-Man game, designed for responding to questions about programming language. A learning version of Snake, but designed for determining the precedence relationship between activity. And also, we cite a learning version of Shooting that was adopted for teaching introduction to programming language. This example shows that many works have adopted existing games for teaching many subjects. However, most of these games were designed for learners with typical development. Nevertheless, is now about designing of educational games for learners with special needs. For that, we will introduce in the next section a learning version of memory match game for deaf learners. Now, I will introduce to you the learning version of memory match game designed for deaf people. The traditional version, called memory match game, is a card game in which all of the cards are laid face down on a surface. The objective of the game is to turn over a pair of matching cards with least possible deals. The traditional version, all the cards hold only visual information. However, in the learning version, other types of information have been added, which are word sign writing. The first card holds writing information, whilst the second card holds the translation of the word in sign writing. The second pair of cards is visual sign writing, and the third pair of cards is math problems and handwriting. It's important to note that when the learner selects a card that holds handwriting notation, a 3D avatar animation appears for rendering the notation in visual gesture modality. Now I will show you the game.
The learning version of memory match game is very simple. It's comprised 8 pairs of cards. The player just must turn over pairs of matching cards that have the same meaning, with the least possible trials. Blue cards hold sign writing notations, while green cards hold their description in writing language. When the player flips a card that holds a sign writing notation, the virtual signer starts the interpretation of its notation content in visual gesture modality. The game is over when all the cards have been matched. It should note here that the incorporation of a virtual avatar in the game could be particularly beneficial for two main reasons. On the one hand, the signing avatar could offer a support for players to understand and grasp the sign writing notation content, and this by displaying and interpreting the transcribed gestures in natural and comprehensible movements. On the other hand, arranging an animated human-like character could certainly increase and promote the engagement, fun, and motivation of these children. The virtual avatar is driven by an animation software called MemoSign. MemoSign was conceived to automatically interpret the exact gestures represented within the sign writing notations. The system architecture consists of 3 parts. The first part is devoted to parse and process the sign writing notation, which are provided in an XML-based format named SWML. All information associated with the input SWML file is processed to identify the significant features that compose the internal structure of the sign. The second part is dedicated to provide a detailed linguistic representation for each notation, in order to specify how corresponding signs are articulated. Finally, the third part is devoted to convert the obtained linguistic representation to the sign modeling language SML. SML can describe any signed utterance in terms of translations and earlier rotation of a group of joints, like wrist, hand fingers, eyebrows, jaw, and so on. The SML script will be interpreted then by an animation engine to render the 3D animations in real time.
Now, I will show you an experimentation in classroom with deaf learners. To sum up, this work described a new educational game for deaf learners. The objective of the game is to foster vocabulary acquisition for deaf learners in both spoken and sign language, to render the learning experience with more fun, to engage deaf learners and to keep them motivated. Future works will study the impact of this learning game on level of knowledge. Thank you for your attention.
Can you hear me? I'm sharing here. Hi, can you see me?
Symposium 2015.
Whoa.
Welcome to the SignWriting Symposium 2015.
Excuse me for 1 minute.
My name is Valerie
We need
Sutton.
to stop the video now.
You know, when videos are on YouTube, they oftentimes have other videos that start right after you're done with the video you just finished. That's what just happened. I was watching your video, and then all of a sudden it started something else of ours. My goodness. They've already recorded the SignWriting Symposium 2015. Listen, could you see the video that I showed? Could you see my full screen, and were you able to see everything? And were you able to hear it? Well, that's wonderful, because I thought it was a fantastic video. I loved every minute of it. Don't you agree, Steve? Wow. And Adam, yes, I tell you, I was going, my heart, I'm so happy to see these deaf children, and their that was you, I assume, asking the questions? Was that you, Yosra, asking the questions? I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can I talk about the experimentation?
Yes, please do that. Yes.
Yes. Thank you. So the experimentation was performed in a Tunisian association for deaf people named LaTICE. This association offers specialist educational services for deaf children. The group of the participants was 9 deaf learners, aged from 9 to 16 years old. During the sessions, each participant was accompanied by me and my colleague Mohamed Ali, and also by their teacher and a sign language interpreter. So me and my colleague Mohamed Ali were responsible for giving a short training session on how playing the game to participants and to perform an interview session with them, while the teacher and the sign language interpreter have played the role of intermediaries between us and the deaf participants for translating spoken English to sign language and vice versa. So before starting the experimentation, a brief description of what the game generally involved was provided to the teacher and her assistant. We have coordinated with them about the vocabularies that will be presented in the MemoSign. So, after finishing playing, each participant was requested to answer questions in the form of an interview. The participants' comments on the learning game during the interview were very encouraging. Most participants wish that they have more opportunities to use the MemoSign game as a learning tool during the session of learning vocabularies. In addition, the participants wish that the learning game will be available on the social network Facebook. So, in the conclusion, the participants were very excited to use the MemoSign, and they learn the sign writing notation. That's it.
Wow. That's just amazing. It's very well done. So is MemoSign available on Facebook right now?
Yes, we have created.
Go ahead.
It's only available online, and future work we will integrate this game on Facebook.
Oh, I see. So in the future it will be in Facebook, but not right now.
Yes.
Yes, I see. But right now on your presentation webpage, I believe we have a link where we can click and go to see it. Isn't that right? And to try it and to use it? Is there a place on the web? I think there is. It's my memory. I don't mean to be... I hope you understood my question. There is a place where we could go to try it. Isn't that true? When people are learning about this, they would probably want to try it. Isn't that true? Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you very well.
Okay. All right, so let me see if I can find it. I'm going to go find the SignWriting Symposium presentation 52, and I'm going to go down to, let's see, the abstract. Did I put, first of all, is Tunis Signer working right now?
Yes,
okay.
It's working.
So would it be a good idea for me to share my screen and show you Tunis Signer? Would that be good? And then we could show MemoSign also. We have another, half hour or so. And what would you like to do now?
So I have a new rubric in the website Tunis Signer for MemoSign. It's available now on the net. Just you can access to tunissigner.com/MemoSign. We will find the description of the game and also the link to the ISL version of MemoSign and the Tunisian version of MemoSign. There is two versions of our game.
Oh, I see. Go ahead.
One version for to learn American Sign Language and a second version to learn Tunisian Sign Language. There is two versions of MemoSign on tunissigner.com.
Okay, so let me, for 1 second, I know Steve has it up there actually. You do, don't you, Steve? But let me go to share screen myself just because I've become so used to this experience. And can you see my screen now?
Yes.
And I have gone to your web page that I designed, and I come down to the bottom of your abstract, which is excellent. Mm-hmm. And notice how I put a link, and it says MemoSign Game. So then I click on that link, and it should take me, hopefully, to it. And this takes us first to the Tunis Sign website, isn't that right?
Yes.
Do you want to talk about this right now and show people? Should I click on, what should I click on? Go down to MemoSign?
Just, I have provided a short description for the game and the tooling. Yes, the first image is it's a link for the MemoSign or TSL, Tunisian Sign Language, and the second image is a link to the MemoSign for ISL. Just click in the image of MemoSign ISL. We will find the game. Yes.
Okay, I did, and let's see what happens. And it's starting. You can see there's a little wheel. That means it's processing, I'm sure. And
you must download the game.
Of course. Yeah, so you can see everybody. It's loading with the blue line there. You can see my mouse is pointing at it. And it's a wonderful game. I tried using it myself, and I learned a lot. I love your avatar. He makes me happy when he signs something. It's coming. Okay, tell us what to do, Yosra.
That's it. There is a menu. You can just click in one item. Numbers. There is an item for numbers, to learn numbers or to learn the name of animals. Yes, you can show that there is two group of cards, blue cards and green cards. The blue cards holds the SignWriting notation, while the green cards holds the numbers. Just click on the one on blue cards, for example. Choose one. choose one, yes, and then click. You must find the correspondence of this notation in oral, in spoken language or in written language. Just click. You must find its its correspondence.
So I know it's that. So now it's not 50. That's for sure.
Number 3. Yes.
So
When you click over a blue card, the interpretation of the sign will start.
Yeah, there it is. Very good. That's outstanding. The avatar is so clear. Yes.
Choose another one. You must search.
I know. I got to start searching. And let's see. What's this? This is 20. Yeah.
20.
He knows how to do ASL. This guy's smart. That's 20. Here's 21. And he does 21.
Yes.
Very beautiful. So then I know how, oh, I saw that. There was 80 somewhere. I think it was here. No, that's 50. Oh, darn. If I go back to 80.
It's an extension of memory match game. So you must memorize the place of the interpretation, the notation, the sign writing notation, and its notation in writing language.
That's right. It gives me a chance to search and find what matches. Now I know that. If I go back to here, maybe I could know. But I saw. Yes, go ahead.
The fourth one. Click in the fourth card, blue card. No, in the other side.
Over here? Yeah, there's.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Oh no, that's 44. No, that's. I understand. I'm very bad. I'm failing. I'm a failure. There's 11 down here, I think. No. So how many cards can you do when you're? There's 20. There's 11. Okay. Well, the thing is that the avatar is doing the sign, and then you find the equivalent over here. Here's 11, and I can match that over here. I actually got one right finally. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Bravo. So now I have a score. Look at this. I've got a score over here. A time. How long it took me to get there. Is that right? And then I bet kids are better at this than I am. But this is very, very beautiful. Really, really perfect. And so to go back, I go return. Now I could test animals.
To choose another item. Colors, alphabetic letters. So wolf.
So in the beginning, it's simply a guessing game as to where things might be. So as you start clicking about, this must be a giraffe. There's this, I even guessed it this time. That's unusual. But that's beautiful, and the drawings are very attractive. So if I go
it's an amazing game to motivate deaf learners to learn sign writing notation.
Yes.
This is the objective of our work.
I love it. I love this. I think it's beautiful. Here we have a cow, it looks like to me, or a bull. Of course, Adam knows sign language better than I do. But that's a horse. So, and I guess you can't do it quite like that. You've got to find one at a time. You can't just keep searching around. But this is excellent. So now if I go back to return, I would then get my mouse to do this. There we go. If I went to ABC, now I would be looking for the letters of the alphabet. That's the letter T. So then, of course, in the beginning, whoops, I didn't do that correctly. That's correct. So now let me go here. Now that's an F. So I'm looking for an F, but I didn't find it. I found a W. Do you find that the children have to take time to find what they need? Oh, I remember now. I remember this goes over here. I did it, didn't I? Yeah. Yay, I got something. Okay, so then, go ahead, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you, Yosra. What did you say?
I said that the concept of the game is very easy. Anyone can play the game and learn the sign writing.
Of course, obviously, that is absolutely true. And the only other thing I'd like to ask is if I kept sharing my screen for a few minutes, would we be able to see the Tunis signer program from last year that you presented? It is such an amazing program. I'm so impressed with it. And I can see that Steve has it there. and I don't mean to, we have two share screens going on, but for one moment, I'm just good. Is it okay that we go to TuniSign, or would you like to see more of MemoSign? What more would you like to show us?
So, what do you prefer? I give a brief description in TuniSign.
Look, there's colors, everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm so excited about this. I'm playing the game. Oh, that's yellow. No, that's not going to work. So here is red. That's blue. Okay, so you can see really, yeah, and the sign. I think the most impressive part to this, most people may not realize what we're dealing with. Look how the avatar is so well programmed. I want to thank you for doing such a beautiful job with the actual avatar programming. That's the hard part. I mean, this looks like, oh, it's fun, but people don't realize how much work you must have put into this job. And as well with Mohamed Ali, I bet it's equally as many hours you put in, isn't that right? So what would you like to show now, Yosra? Should I keep showing my screen like this? So we can see my screen? Or what more would you like me to show?
Just I would thank you for this precious occasion to present our work. We all SignWriting lists to test our game and give us their comments. That's it. To ameliorate our game and to develop other games, educational games.
Well, thank you too. And by the way, you just got a nice message from Ingvild Roald, who is a teacher of deaf people in Norway. Actually, Ingvild is also a linguist and has done work with SignWriting way back. I mean, she and I know each other since, oh, maybe the 1980s. I can't remember. But anyway, hi, Ingvild. And Ingvild just wrote you a message saying, I'm watching this and enjoying it. I'm so impressed. And I know that even Stefan Borman, who, as you know, is also a teacher of deaf children, he asked how to get it. He wanted to use it. So we're definitely following your work. And I'd like to point out that I went, Mohamed Ali, to your biography on the web that we posted about you, and I was so impressed when I looked at your link and could see that you've done so many games already, haven't you? You've programmed other games as well. Isn't that true? I don't know whether... Mohamed, can you hear me?
Yes. Could you please repeat your question?
Of course. I wanted to bring you into the conversation and tell you that when I was doing your webpage, I, of course, read your biography. And you had a link.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
You did a lot of games. I was very impressed with all the games for children that you've developed already. Isn't that true? That you've done
yes.
That? Tell us a little bit about your work. Is this a part of your degree, MemoSign? Hard for you to hear me, I can tell.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Could you please repeat? Sure.
Maybe Adam, can you maybe you could hear Adam better? Is this a part of your degree? Maybe I should put this on. I don't know.
Yes, of course. I'm interested in developing educational games, especially educational games for this new area in our laboratory is to design and develop educational game for deaf learners. We will also create a game generator that help teacher to create easily the game. For example, to enter just the word, and automatically it will be converted on SignWriting using models that developed by Yosra. And the aim is to help teacher and also to motivate deaf learners, especially learners who belong to so-called game generation. This generation, those learners who are raised on digital world, native speakers of language of computers, video games, internet, and they are accustomed to high level of motivation and engagement. These learners including deaf learners, found the traditional learning is very disengaged and boring. So one of the effective way to motivate learners is by using educational games. The educational games can consume the attention of learners to increase their motivation and their engagement to learn, especially SignWriting.
It's very exciting work, and it looks like you're working on many projects. So, but it's all based on what Yosra has started, isn't that right, with the SML and the avatar? So you have Tunis Signer. Can we use that right now here in the United States with ASL? Yosra?
Tunis Signer includes, Tunis Signer includes 4 dictionary to interpret SignWriting notation. 1 dictionary for ISL, TSL, Tunisian Sign Language, Brazilian Sign Language, Egyptian Sign Language, and French Sign Language. That's it. But I have cooperated with Mohamed Ali. Mohamed Ali, the main interest of Mohamed Ali is to develop educational game for normal learners. But I suggest to him to make a cooperation and develop a new educational game for deaf learners. So the Mohamed Ali, his interest is to develop the educational game, and then we have added new features to this game. Is the SignWriting notation, the avatar technology, just the interpretation of each sign, and that's it. Just the cooperation is the MemoSign. Yes, the result of our cooperation is the MemoSign game.
I understand.
Mohamed Ali do not develop educational game for hearing impaired people. Just his interest is to develop educational game for normal learners and not for learners with special needs. Can you understand me?
Yes, I do understand. I did notice that Mohamed Ali, some of his games were not connected to deaf education necessarily, but nonetheless, Mohamed Ali has developed many games. And now you're working together on MemoSign. Yes, I understand that. And I'm very impressed with both of your works. I mean, it's tremendous. We're so lucky. Gosh, we're so lucky. And to see that video of deaf children using it, I think that was the best thing you could have done, because it makes you realize that it really can be used. You know, it's one thing if we adults just sit here and play around, but it's another thing when we go into a classroom and we can see the children using it. And I think they felt very positive about it, so you should be commended for this. It's a great job. So what is the future? What do you want to do in the future, Yosra and Mohamed Ali?
Yes, we aim to develop a generated tool, a tool to generate educational game. This tool will provide to teachers to make or to add their courses or their special notations to generate after that learning game to teach these new notations or these new vocabularies to their learners. Just we will add a part in the game to make to let the teachers to add their specific notation or courses.
So the teachers can get involved and actually work with the game themselves and create a game that's just for what they want to teach at the moment. Is that what you're thinking? So it would be flexible. Is that? Yeah, that's good.
Yes. That's it.
Is that a continuation of MemoSign, or is it a separate game? Is it the same?
We will work at this time on MemoSign, and after that we will develop and new games. Maybe.
So if you have in other words, right now, if I wanted to use the game with some students, I would need to use what you've already, of course, given us, which is wonderful, the ASL version, because that's what I happen to know better than Tunisian Sign Language. But I'm sure you're planning other sign languages as well. You already said that with Tunis signer. You have lots of dictionaries. Oh, that was so exciting to hear all the languages. But going back to MemoSign, in the future, it would be possible for me to change it and to be able to put in new data, new signs, if I wanted to put in new symbols or something. Okay,
Yes,
good.
we can.
That's a good. That will be a good addition. That's really great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your future work. So I'm really glad I wrote to you this year, because if I hadn't written to you, I don't know whether we would be talking to each other right now at this presentation. And when you told me all about MemoSign, I said, oh, please come and present, because we would love to hear about it. And I'm really glad you showed your beautiful work. Adam, do you have any questions for Yosra or Mohamed Ali? Because Adam teaches American Sign Language, but not to deaf children, to adults, to older people. And do you think, Adam, that the MemoSign game in ASL might be useful for people who are learning sign writing within your American Sign Language classes? I know that there aren't that many who do that, but there might be some.
It could be used for some of the beginner classes. I could see it being used, yes.
Yes. So, Yosra and Mohamed Ali, have you ever thought about adults, older people learning American Sign Language for the first time? Maybe they're training to be interpreters, or maybe they're just simply taking it as a foreign language class like that. They still need to learn how to read and write it. And I would think the MemoSign game would have use even outside the children's classroom. Just a point. I thought you might think about that, because I know Adam. I think if we tested Adam, let's see if it goes well. I bet it will. So, would you like to say anything more before we? I think I'm going to be saying goodbye soon. We have about 5 more minutes left, or maybe 8 more minutes. What more should you tell us about MemoSign?
So we are very thankful for giving us this opportunity to present our work.
Of course.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to you. And I want you to know, Ingrid Roald writes, she just wrote a message. She said, the avatar is really impressive. And I presume that the learning for motivation, yes, she said, very impressive.
Thank you so much.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, Yosra.
Thank you, dear Valerie and your team, Adam, Steve, and the other mailing list. So we are very happy to present our work in the SignWriting Symposium. And we will, if there is a second version of SignWriting Symposium the next years, we will participate in it.
Oh, I'm glad.